Hey, I'm Mike Teets. And this is my BMW. Hey, I'm Mike Teets. I'm 23. How I got into cars is mainly through my grandfather. He really kind of implanted cars with me, whether it was getting Hot Wheels for me as a young kid or taking me to, the auto dealership just to kind of see cars and look at cars and things like that. He also had some old Corvettes and Mustangs back in the day. So I kind of started growing cars with me. The reason I got into drifting was I used to watch Speed Channel as a kid, and one time a thing popped up called Formula Drift, and I loved Porsches as a kid, so I saw this Porsche sliding around. I was like, why? It's not supposed to do that. Like, what is this thing? And I was like trying to get more information on and stuff like that. Couldn't really find anything for a little bit because YouTube didn't come out in 2004. So I went to my local track, which is a little circle track in Elko here, Minnesota, and they were doing Even No Destruction, and they had the drifters out. And I'm like, there's that word again, and I lost the word and couldn't figure it out. And I saw them out drifting and stuff, and I'm like, okay, that is the raddest thing ever. I want to do that when I grow up. I don't care about anything else. I want to make sure I do that. Funny story how I came across the BMW. I didn't want a BMW at all. I wanted something Japanese so bad. I wanted either like a 240 FC 86 is my dream car, so I wanted that. And like even a Supra, like GS300s, S300s, anything like that. I wanted something like that, but the prices were too high at the time, and I had like almost no budget because I was still in high school. And I was like looking around, I was like looking at some American stuff, and like it was like 90s, like Mustangs and Camaros, just V6s, just piles. I hated the look of them, and I was like, I'm not driving that. And then a buddy of mine, Kyle, got me into BMWs. He's like, check out BMW, see what they are. And I was kind of blown away because they were going for so cheap at the time, like 5 years ago. And I ended up coming across this one after looking for about 6 months on cars or for BMWs. And when I got this car, I got it for $2,000. It's a 2000 328i, completely bone stock, and it was my first car. Everything worked in it, everything was so nice, and then I decided to just wreck it and destroy it over the years and just turn it into a drift car. I kind of knew when I got the car that I wanted to turn it into a drift car. So honestly, the car is mainly bone stock. I haven't really touched the engine. I just put an M50 intake in it this winter to try and get a little more power out of it, but I've done like catless headers and like spark plugs, main maintenance stuff. And with these BMWs, the cooling system is awful. So I've gone through so many expansion tanks, so many hoses, so many thermostats, it's unreal. The car, I don't understand about BMWs, especially my car, but like I've overheated the thing at least a dozen times. I ran out of coolant probably 20 times, and I've driven it home every single time. It's never let me down. So I don't understand that, but somehow it does great work. Starting from the rear, I got a dual caliper set up in there right now. That works really well just for being able to lock up the brakes whenever you need to, in case you're in a oh crap moment, or if you're tandeming with someone, you can get right out on them, or just extending corner a little bit longer. You don't need it, but it's really nice to have it. I have the stock diff in there, welded some lower control arms in the back just so I can adjust the camber and make it a little bit lower and things like that. Coilovers, obviously, get it to be lower just so it can have a lower center of gravity and go around the track a lot smoother and easier. That's pretty much it for the rear. I mean, I've just kind of done stuff over the years. Oh, I did do new bushings in it because the bushings, I took everything out just to do the diff. Because I didn't know how to work on cars. I couldn't get the diff out by itself. I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna take the whole subframe out. So I was like, yeah, I took that out, and I'm like, all right, now they're all like really crappy. I should probably put new ones in. That sucked. I had to burn them all out by hand. It took so long. I hated it, but it ended up being pretty good in the end. I got a new drive shaft in it because I think the old one sheared off, so that was cool. So I got a 6-puck sprung clutch in it right now. Like I said, pretty much stock motor, stock transmission. And then the front, it's kind of when I got different stuff in it. I got an SLR angle kit, so it gets a lot of angle. It's the ultra angle kit. For E46s, they have to be a little bit different than E36. And then I took the front sway bar out just so it can clear to be able to get full lock, because if I were to put the stock end links back on, it wouldn't be able to go full lock like it does. I think that's pretty much it. I mean, I've done motor mounts, stuff like that, just little things. Like I said, it's really nothing much. It's just handbrake, angle, coilovers, welded diff. It's really all I need. Thing's got 200 horsepower, but it shreds. Like, you know, people always say, oh, you gotta have big power, oh, you gotta have this and that car. It's like, all you really need to have a good time is just welded diff, lowered, angle helps a lot. I got a seat as well. Seat really saved my life, because the first event, I kept hitting my knee up against the door card, and I actually cut my knee open because I just kept hitting it like crazy. And with a good seat in there, you can really feel planted in one with the car, so it helps you control and think a lot easier when you're going really fast around corners. So body kit, I just got this year. It's a click tuning kit. It's kind of weird because it splits in two pieces, as you can kind of see here. It's just for shipping things. It's a little bit cheaper, and if like one piece of it breaks off, you can just get a new one. But I got the rears, the sides, the fronts. As you can see, kind of, I don't have it all mated up yet exactly, but the front and rear are pretty much good. I do have some over fenders coming, still waiting on the fronts. I got the rears all cut up now, as I'm sure you'll see, and I'm going to be installing those soon. But that's kind of it for the body kit. I just got some SSRs, so I'm starting in the 3-piece wheel gang finally. When I got this car, I wanted to try and make it as Japanese as I could, because that was everything I loved about. I just love the Japanese culture and drifting and how it started and their cars. So like, that's why I got all like the crazy stickers on it. I have underglow and like interior lights and everything. And I got the stupid Japanese shifter as well. So I try and make it as much like Euro JDM blend as I can. Another thing too, the reason why I chose a sedan was, I don't know why, but I just love big body cars drifting. I think Chasers, you know, GS300s, other stuff like Laurels, stuff like that. I just think they're like so sick going, like, especially drifting, because like you don't think a big body sedan is going to be sliding around a track. Yeah, I think the biggest thing too, as far as drifting, is it's difficult to get into, just because you got to just push yourself and go out there. Like, I could have easily started a year before I did, because I already had the angle in here, I already had the welded diff, I had the clutch. I didn't have a good handbrake, and I was like, no, like the car's not set up enough, I'm not good enough, sort of thing like that for it. And then in my first event was 2019 in PG2 with no handbrake, and I was like, you know what, and no seat either. I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna go out and just do it, I don't care. And it was one of the best decisions I've ever made. I was scared fearless for my life, because of how their event works is you gotta prove you can do donuts and figure eights. And I'm like, oh, I've been drifting in the snow for years, like I got this. I went out there and just hit both cones, did not know how to do anything. So I was like, all right, I gotta look back at the Chelsea Nova how to drift videos and look through those, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go back out this and get this. So I went out, nailed the donuts and figure eights, and then they're like, okay, you can go on the road course. And it's like, what? Like, you start just doing little donuts, and then you're immediately 70 miles an hour drifting around huge carousel. This is terrifying. So like, first 4 times I went out, I did not know what I was doing. The car was all over the place. I didn't feel like I was in control, and I feel like I wanted to puke. And then I sat back, and I was eating some food, and I sat there for like 30 minutes, like contemplating life. Like, I did all this stuff for all these years, and watched all these videos, all this information, built my car to do this, and I can't even do it. I don't have the gut to do it. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna man up and just go out and do it. I did it, I shredded it, got it done, had a good event, and then started drifting this whole last year, and it's been an absolute blast. Drifting for me is just one of the biggest things that has ever happened in my life, and even just for doing it for like 4 events, and for doing it like for part of a summer and part of a fall, I have already met so many people and gotten so many experiences from it, and I've already gotten a lot of opportunities because of drifting. And I definitely shocked myself with how my skills have gotten so far, and I know other people can go out there too and just go out and just kill it and shred it. We need more people drifting out here, need more people experiencing it. You don't really experience it until you get in the car too. Like some people would be like, oh, it's kind of cool, whatever stuff. It's like, whatever. And then once they get in the car and you strap them in, they're screaming like little girls. It's just crazy how weird and cool drifting is. But yeah. Once again, I'm Mike. This is my big money waste trash BMW. Thank you for watching. Make sure to subscribe to these guys. They're awesome. They drove out 2.5 hours, even longer than that, just to see my car on jack stands. They're awesome people. I love them. So make sure to subscribe.